The first time I stood at this pulpit some 5 years or more ago, during Daniel's sabbatical, I talked about the phenomena of bird eggs hatching. What did it take to move from one reality into another reality? What did it take to hatch? Unlike the romanticized version we tell ourselves as onlookers of this wondrous moment of becoming, I've learned that the process of hatching is actually a terrifying event if you look at it from the perspective of the bird. In the moments before birth, the small hatchling has eaten all of its food, and its growing body presses against every contour and curve of the shell. There's no more room. There's no more food. The chick hatches because its body is painfully cramped inside the world of the egg, and it is starving. There is so much discomfort that the chick is driven to peck its way into whatever is on the other side of the world, whatever is on the other side of safety, because there's nothing else to do and still survive. Hatching is not graceful. There's wrestling and rolling around, there's crying and crying, there's exhaustion and power naps. There's stumbling and trying to hold the head up while getting the feet underneath the body. Hatching is not graceful. It's beautiful to behold, but I dare say the chick would not describe it that way. I think the chick would say hatching is necessary. My friends, I think we are in a time of hatching. I know I am, as I'm about to leave you to return home and wrestle with the what next of my ministry and my life. And you are hatching, maybe as individuals, but most certainly as a church body. Every church community I know of, including First Church, is wrestling and rolling around with the question, what is church now? We know things can't go backwards. Some of the frameworks or structures we once held dear don't quite fit anymore as we've run this endurance race with COVID and all of it entails. Some of our frameworks and structures are trustworthy and sound, and some are hindrances as we face the upcoming crisis of climate, our teetering democracy, and conspiracy theories that threaten to unravel us all. Most of us want some return to when things made sense to us. We know we shouldn't say it, but a lot of us say it anyway. We want to get back to normal. We want to stay in the shell, even though food is running out, even though we are painfully cramped inside the world of the egg. Black activist Sonia Renee Taylor, and author of The Body is Not an Apology, writes this: "We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal, other than we normalized greed, inequity, exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hoarding, hate, and lack. We should not long to return, my friends. We are being given the chance to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and nature," end quote. Friends, it's not easy to hatch. It's not easy to leave behind the skin you've outgrown. There's only one way forward, and that is to lean into the vulnerability of the new world. The fumbling, floppy experience of becoming again, to welcome transformation. That is my work as I leave you. That is your work as you wrestle with the what, how, and why of this faith community in this particular time and place. How might we leave behind the shells of normalized inequity, exhaustion, depletion, confusion, disconnection, maybe rage, and stitch a new garment that is a better fit for our humanity and nature? That's a tall order. I've been reading a book of late called Rooted that was recommended to me by our new administrative assistant, Sarah Chester. In it, author, scientist, and mystic Linda Lynn Haupt encourages us to live rooted, radical lives, to develop rooted, radical frameworks. Now, that might seem like an oxymoron. One word seems to indicate staying put, and the other infers throwing everything overboard and starting from scratch. But investigating the etymology of the words rooted and radical might help us out. The word rooted comes from the Latin radix, meaning the center from which all things germinate and arise. And the word radical arises from the same root word, radix. There's something about being rooted that is radical, and something about being radical that is rooted. Haupt writes, the radix is the radical, the intrinsic, organic, fervent heart of being and action. Rooted lives are radically intertwined with the vitality of the planet. In a time that evokes fear and paralysis, rooted ways of being with nature assure us. Our bodies, our thoughts, our minds, our spirits are affected by the whole of the earth and community, and we affect this whole in return. This is both a mystical sensibility and a scientific fact. Haupt calls for developing a posture that embraces the polarity of being conscious of what is core and responsive to what is happening. In a profound section of the book, she relates a ritual of Benedictine monks as they take their vows of membership in the monastic order. And in this ritual, the monks pledge to a, quote, outwardly paradoxical life of simultaneous conversion and stability. A constant evolution of mind and spirit with the rootedness of a particular community. Now, don't get snagged by the word conversion. Understand it for what it truly means. Conversion means to be radically open to learning, awe, curiosity, questions, and wonder, a willingness to be transformed, to shed our old skin, our shell, and embrace hatching. In the ritual, the monks respond to a series of uncompromising spiritual practices of rootedness and radical openness and engagement with the statement, I am here. I am here. I ask you, I ask myself, how might we commit ourselves to a constant evolution of mind and spirit within the rootedness of our religious communities as we engage the confounding swirl of events, theologies, policies, and horrors happening all around us? First, we have to ask ourselves, what is core to this faith community? What roots us individually and communally as a faithful people? Well, some of them were outlined beautifully last week by Reverend Daniel. We are rooted in an interdependent web of all existence. We are sibling parent, cousin, teacher, student of everything. We are related to everything in some shape or manner. The real of reality is relationship. That is our gospel, and it is scientific fact. Your life is precious and it is finite. You are both magnificent and minuscule. It matters what you do and how you do it, and it's not all up to you, and it is. We are here to draw out the deity in one another, or put another way by the great Persian mystic Hafiz, you are God hiding from yourself. Remove all the mine. That is the veil. Why ever worry about anything? Listen to what your friend Hafiz knows for certain. You are a divine elephant with amnesia trying to live in an anthole. Sweetheart, oh sweetheart, you are God in drag. I've been asking myself, what are the spiritual practices that might keep me attuned to conversion and stability, to rootedness and the radical? And so today, I start with the roots Daniel outlined. If indeed we are part of this interconnected dance, this dance of an ever-creating creation, this confluence of causes, parts, and conditions interacting in expected and unexpected ways, then how we enter the dance is just as important as the dance we're doing. It's not just what you do, but how you do it. It's not just the commitments you make, but how you make them and how you live them out. One more email shot off at 3 a.m. with that edgy vibe that happens when you have had no sleep may not be as important as going to bed. Always assessing endeavors or initiatives by what went wrong or what didn't measure up, rather than what was discovered, what was uncovered, what did we learn, or an appreciation for all the things that went well, is a surefire way of shutting down creativity and innovation, things so necessary in these troubled times. Playing notes with nuance and passion and heart is just as important, or I would argue more important, than playing every note accurately on the page. One creates the beauty of music, and the other is a slog for the listeners and the musicians alike. My radical is to commit to how I enter the dance, to slow down enough so I can observe a situation, to ask questions of myself and my collaborators, to back away from the proverbial cliff of reactivity and calm my own system down enough so that whatever interaction or effort I make will be skillful and compassionate. How we enter the dance matters. Energy inspires energy. If indeed we are all precious, if indeed we are all God in drag, and we are here to bring out the deity in one another, then my radical is committing my life to racial justice with all my mistakes and clumsiness and best efforts. Racism and white body supremacy are the embedded norms in our society, whether we see it or not. They are the norms in our communities. In my church in Minneapolis and this church in Dallas, it doesn't mean we're bad. It just means We are part of an interdependent web of this, our American culture and society. If I'm here to invite the divine in each and all to shine, then I have to join in the work to dismantle the most prevalent and insidious structure in our society and culture that impede us from shining godliness. I want people to experience the glimmers of a new world order that I've been privileged to witness at Standing Rock in North Dakota, or 38th in Chicago, where George Floyd was murdered, and a community of struggle and beauty that has emerged there. This radical commitment will not come about by me just saying, I believe in it. It means actively working towards the new thing we are endeavoring to create together. And that means actively working in here and out there. And now I'm going to speak to the white folks here, my friends and my beloveds. When we say, we get this, it's time to quit talking and do something, I have to respond with all the love in my heart, no, we don't get this. We're trying to get this. I don't get it yet, and I've been working on it for a really long time. We may have glimpses, some insights and understandings, but we don't get it. It's important to keep talking and learning from each other. I've decided that the rooted radical thing to do is to commit myself to the both and of racial justice. I commit to conversion. That is a posture of learning, curiosity, wonder, and awe in my racial equity struggle, and move into the arenas of action with humility and bravery and a commitment to not take things so personally. Racial justice matters. Justice inspires justice. Energy inspires energy. And finally, my next radical move relates to all of those roots mentioned before, and it may be surprising. I promise to always pay attention to beauty. Beauty is more than something looking pretty or something sounding good. Beauty is the holy geometry of life, my friends. When we pay attention to beauty and its varied and marvelous expressions, we bear witness to the holy embedded in ourselves, in one another, in our creations, in the world around us. Beauty can act as a compass for our hearts and our communities. I promise to practice radical creation of and appreciation for beauty. It is in relationship to beauty that we may surprise ourselves into a new world. Beauty matters. Beauty inspires beauty. Energy inspires energy. Dear ones of First Unitarian Church of Dallas, I've fallen in love with you. You've given me so much in this great exchange of giving and receiving that is the lifeblood of church. Your energy has inspired my energy. And I hope my energy has inspired yours. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. May we live rooted and radical lives wherever we are planted, and always respond to this call with, I am here. May it be so. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, friends.